Dear friends, here we are talking about electroacoustic music composition that I practice since many years. For this art, I practice it with instruments and electronics. For example, instrumental improvisation, and live electronics, or electroacoustic media, for example montage, for example sonical sculptures. We're gonna take to this last part, the electroacoustic medium as sound on support. Sound on support is to take a sound and fix it on a support, which is the file wave, for example, that we use for work with sound or on a sequencer. I use the iPad context with many apps, but you can start from few apps. For example, I advise you on Cubase 3 version, which is affordable and which is a very serious software. Or in alternative, you can use, for example, Fruity Loops. Fruity Loops has all inside, but some of these instruments are a bit limited sometimes to the context. And Cubase 3 has audio units, which are external audio operation sets that can manipulate the sound in many ways. I don't stop myself on the instrument, but talking about a sequencer, the framework is that you have a space with the time from the left to the right. From left to right, then you have material that you can put inside of the sequencer. The material can be very amorphous, like, for example, I don't know, sounds like this. Some objects performed like musical instruments, using the deepest part of your listening. You can really recall ideas and reach some particular sounds, also taking the recording directly, for example with the iPad or your iPhone, your phone, directly from the nearest part of the device, and make like a macro photography of the sound. Also, to taking bigger sound, you can transpose down by pitch and make this a big sound. Also in volume of the volume of the density, but not the volume of the dynamic, the density part, because it is shifted under by 1 octave, 2 octave. For example, a sound transposed down by 3 octave takes a great, a huge, an important role that can be a basso, like a basso. A sound can be tuned or untuned. Untuned sound could be, for example, this. But if I sound this, I hear a fa. Fa, 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 fa. You can hear maybe fa, 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 fa. Could be. The sounds, also the noises, have a polarity sometimes. That when is very exposed, very evident, they take a pitch. We are talking about energy, we are talking about, for example, a noise, a white noise or a noisy sound with energy spread out in the spectrum from the lower part to the higher part. Then we, for example, with a filter, with an EQ, we can tune some part and carving, like a sculpture, carving some notes on the spectrum, and then tune the sound with chords or notes with the EQ. The bells of the campane del filtro, the bells of the filtro of the EQ can be very narrow, possono essere molto stretti, can be very narrow and very pitched oriented. With this we can make sing some noisy sound and make harmonies or melodies inside of these sequences of sounds. For example, a sequence of a sound of 12 seconds, 12 secondi di suono, 12 seconds of sound. This is recorded from a near perspective, could sound like a percussion instrument. Like, for example, we can use, for example, little objects from a narrow, a little point of view, like recording micro paesaggi. Registrare micro paesaggi di suono like percussion instruments, but also this is played version, but we can also take random parts or selected, carefully selected parts, cioè selezionati casualmente o scelti a caso, oppure scelti molto consapevolmente, cioè you can find the sound carefully choosing it from a random sequence. You take the watch, transpose it down, transpose. You can take these motifs, take a discourse, a musical discourse with objects mounted, with sound clips spiced, placed inside the sequencer, and then you can construct a mosaic of sound, also very complex, also very busy, and you can also add effects, you can also add reverb, for example, for spatialize, for create ambient sounds, like for example a dome, a reverb hall, etc., or smaller spaces. You can manipulate this sound inside the left-right channels, moving in the left and right part, or when you record with your phone, for example, you can move the objects on the microphones and then create a space when the sounds are projected in the space. Then when you make take care far from the microphone, the object, you bring down the volume because the sound is far from the microphone, and you have a dynamic of movements, a dynamic of movements of the behavior of the sounding gesture, which is very organic and very interesting to use. All these particular practices fall inside the experience of the music concrete and acousmatic music, for example, but can go ahead mixing it, for example, as in contemporary music, with the traditional instrumental parts, and creating a counterpoint, which is a punto contro punto, point versus point. You can create textures with instruments, and these objects recorded time by time, completely different or homogeneously chosen between them. This is the first video of many others that I will bring to you about this. Today we are talking about the first manipulation parts, but I'm gonna to make many other examples, many other practices. The important part is that if you have a sound, you can pitch it, you can carve, poi scolpire all'interno, you can carve inside pitches and chords, and then bring them in polyphony, so superimposing these chords, this scale material, to make a polyphony, but also that is a polyphony, euphonic polyphony, bella da sentire, good to listening, not only noisy, that could be good, but you can also pass from a euphonic sheen to a noisy sheen, completely amorphic sheen. For example, talking about informal arts, talking about informal artists, informal abstractists. Music is also sometimes abstract, sometimes concrete. Abstract because it can born from notes, from numbers, from forms, but it can came from the reality as a concrete dimension. The abstract and the concrete can be jointed, can live between this division. Concrete and abstract can borrow between them. Si possono mescolare. You can mix this dimension and create radio drama, for example, creating poetry about the vocal readings with sounds. Also, you can work with dance, you can work with video, you can work with video, with images, text on video, and mix it with this concrete sound that are extrapolated from the reality and then transformed, and they became an abstract idea. This is very interesting. We at least we are going to see us, between us, next time with many other point of view, and I will show you some practice video showing you my projects, on the sequencer, how can I work, and how can you, for example, work by yourself with your personality, which is fundamental for an artist, the unicity, the personality, the way you can choose to make music. Thank you. Salute from Giorgio Bianchi.